Hello, it's Super Dad here. I've hijacked Super Mummy Toys for a second because I want to show you how to carve a Zomlings pumpkin. Now, here's my pumpkin. As you can see, I've already carved out the middle, scooped out all of the inside, and I've cut the top so that it's got a lid. And then what I'm going to do now is I'm going to make a Zomlings pumpkin. Now, this is obviously a Zomlings blind bag. What I'm going to do, I'm going to do this from the Zomlings logo. Okay, so the first thing I've got to do is I've got to draw my design on the front of the pumpkin. Now, when you look at your pumpkin, you've got to choose the best side. So this side's got the biggest surface, so if you turn it around, there's some marks on that side, so that's no good. So I'm going to draw my design here, so that's what I'll do first. So as you can see there, I've drawn the picture on the front of the pumpkin, and to do this I've used a washable pen, and the reason for that is because if I make a mistake there, I can just wipe it off with a baby wipe and start again. So the next stage is to carve out the pumpkin. Now when you do this, you can't just cut all the way around the edge of here, because if I cut all the way around the edge of this, then that middle bit's just going to fall out and all I'm going to have is the outline. So you have to leave spaces so that the pumpkin is connected to the design. The next thing I'm going to say is that I'm going to use a very sharp knife to do this. Now obviously knives are dangerous, so please have adult supervision if you're doing this. Okay, so now I'm going to carve out my design. Now when you do this, you've got to make sure that you go all the way through to the centre of the pumpkin, because the light from the candle or the light that you put inside this pumpkin has got to shine through these gaps that you're cutting out. Now if there's any bits in there that you can't quite get out or push through, I'm going to use the back of a spoon and I'm going to push that through there. Because it's blunt, it won't cut any bits off like the knife would if you shove the knife in there, but it will keep it nice and smooth and get all of those little bits out. Okay, the smaller bits are the trickier bits. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and do this scar before I do this bit, because it's a bit firmer that way. What I'm going to do, I think I'm going to make that scar a little bit less curvy so it's easier to cut out. So if I use my baby wipe, dry it with a tissue, because otherwise you won't be able to draw on it again, and then I'll get the pen. Okay, that should be easier to cut out now. Because this is smaller, it's a lot trickier. The knife I'm using has got quite a long handle and quite a big blade, because that way I wouldn't get my hand in front of it the whole time during the video. What I'm just going to do, I'm going to get a normal dinner knife, I'm going to push it through, because that won't cut too much because it's not that sharp, but it will make sure that those scar bits go all the way through, and then you'll be able to see the light from the inside. So I'm just going to carry on now, and I'm going to cut out the rest of the pumpkin. With these, you can drill it if you want to. What I'm going to do is I'm going to punch it through with a pencil because it's a lot safer. All I've got left to do now is the eyes. Well, first of all, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to redraw because some of the drawings got wiped off a bit. I'm going to try a slightly different technique. This time what I'm going to do, I'm going to take the front of the pumpkin, the actual orange skin off, and what that should do, if flesh stays behind it, the glow should come through when there's a light inside. We'll try it and see if it works. You got to be very careful when you do this, it's quite easy to slip. Okay, the last little bit to do is the pupils. So I'm going to use my pencil again, but I'm not going to push all the way through this time. Okay, now this is what I was saying, now get your baby wipe, clean it up a bit. Okay, so there you have it, a Zomlings pumpkin. Of course now, we've got to put the light inside and see what it looks like in the dark. Okay, so it wasn't dark enough where I was to test what it looked like in the dark. So I brought it up to one of the bedrooms. So let me just turn the light off and then you'll be able to see the Zomling pumpkin in the dark. And there you have it, a Zomlings pumpkin. And I'm quite pleased with this. It's not quite glowing through the eyes as much as I wanted to, here and here. But in order to change that, you could just scrape a bit more off the back and then it will glow through a bit more. But otherwise, I'm quite happy with it. Let me know what you think in the comments down below, and hopefully I'll be able to do a couple more how to carve pumpkin videos before Halloween. Bye!